Hello, and welcome to Skye's Sweaty Record Review. I don't know what episode it is. Today, I actually interrupted my workout halfway through to record this little quick episode. I'm trying to release 3 episodes a week, coinciding with every time that I go to the gym. But I was in Montreal over the weekend, taking my students all around, teaching them about the city, so I didn't have time to get sweaty because I was too cold. But what I want to do now is talk about the band Byrd. Now, as always, I try to pick bands that I don't know that much about, usually. And I just found this name interesting, right? Like lay is French, and then big is English, and then Byrd is spelled B-Y-R-D, like the British rock band, the Byrds. So I was like, okay, what's this? And then I read their album title, and it may be the funniest album title of all time. It's called Iran, Iraq, Ikea, which is still funny to me. I sort of get the point. It seemed like it might have some kind of meaning about, I don't know, consumerism and war, or it could just be a silly pun. And I think that plays out through this whole album, where it's very light, and it feels like it might not mean very much, but actually, it's a really well thought out and interesting record. Ooh, let me open the, ooh, more light. That's exciting. So, if I had to boil this group down, I would say the best way to do it is listen to the first track, and that's my, I don't know, exemplary track of the week, or whatever it is I call it. And it's called Geräusche. G-E-R-A-U-S-H-E. I had to write that down. It's a German word that apparently means noise. And it opens up with this song, and it almost feels like it's going to be a cover, or like a reboot of the Kraftwerk song Trans-Europa Express. It's almost the same kind of synthesizer, same kind of pulsing beat. But then they start singing. And it's this really beautiful, harmonious singing. And the kind of, I don't know, the robotic feel of Kraftwerk is replaced with a much more human feel of this song. And that kind of that starts off the album continues all the way through. And I would say it's a very unified album in terms of atmosphere. It's a driving album. It's an album that makes you want to get on the road and just drive for hours and hours, like I did yesterday going back from Montreal. By the way, there's always road work in Montreal. It is crazy. So that's the way it starts off, is this kind of Kraftwerky song, and then some songs get to be pretty rock and roll, like a little bit less keyboards, but it's pretty well layered, synthetic instruments, acoustic instruments. And then another song called A Little More Numb sounds like a different kind of soft reboot or remake. It sounds like Roadrunner by the Modern Lovers. I mean, it's almost the exact same thing, just with slightly different instrumentation. But then the lyrics end up being a little bit more personal, a little bit less about, I don't know, Roadrunner's pretty personal. But it ends up being, sung very differently. But that really isn't, that's in the middle of the record, and that helps to give this unified sense that you have of this album, of just, if you're going on a drive and you want to listen to something, this is absolutely it. It's really well engineered. It's really well put together. It's not a very long album. I think it's under half an hour. It ends with a little bit of like, kind of like a soft ending. It kind of fades out with a couple of soft, nice tunes. Even though, there's like little songs that have like, the title is a pun. And there's a song called Pink Floyd, which is another pun. You'd think that would prevent them from being a band with much substance. But actually, there are a lot of really nice, personal lyrics in this album. I mean, one song is about being a child and making mistakes. A song called Eon is another one of those great breakup songs where it's about somebody who maybe doesn't still love somebody, but cares about them and wants to see them and feels really sort of alienated, but wanting closeness as well. I didn't really expect that from an album called Iran, Iraq, Ikea, so that was a nice surprise. I couldn't figure it out because there's 2 songs with German titles. The name has French and English in it, so I couldn't figure out where they were from. And at this point, if you don't know, I'd like you to guess based on the title. Iran, they're not Iranian. Iraq, they're not Iraqian. Or they're not Iraqi. Ikea, yes, they're a Swedish group. I don't know, it doesn't really matter. But it turns out they're Swedish, that's all I know about them. So this is an excellent record. I really enjoyed it. It's an easy listen, it's not particularly challenging, and I don't mean that in a bad way. So, I don't know, what's my pithy 3-word thing? You know, it's funny because in the title description of the band, they say that they're psychedelic. I don't really know if they're psychedelic as much as they feel like they give things room to breathe. And I think often that's confused with being psychedelic, just because like there's kind of like a sense of being able to sort of zone out while you listen because it's driving. So I'm not going to include the word psychedelic in my 3-word review. I think I will call it driving, harmonious Kraftwerk. That's good. All right. So I have to go finish my workout, and then I'm going to review my next record, and I'm going to release that tomorrow. And the answer to the improvised trivia question is an eraser made of a hedgehog. It's a hedgehog eraser. Used to belong to my daughter. Then I left it in my car next to like an old tangerine, and the tangerine molded, and now it's all covered in mold. Okay. All right, off to the elliptical. I'll post that tomorrow. I'll post this today, because today is Saturday in Magical World.